Have you worried much about a coming ice age? Because I did when I was a kid. It was in my textbooks. I mean, it was like dead certain. I mean, the absolute like smartest of the smartest of like all of us. Do you remember your valedictorian in high school who went on to get like a full scholarship to Harvard, and then she got her master's in like 5 minutes and her doctorate when she was a fetus? And like imagine a team like that. They all together projected that the earth was going to freeze and it was imminent and there was an ice age like around the corner. That was in textbooks all across the country. And I don't feel like I'm that, I hope I'm not that old. It wasn't that long ago. And we were like certain of it. And the same thing too with the food pyramid. The food pyramid was in my textbooks as well, as a kid who went to public school, as you can tell. Like it told us with absolute certainty, you gotta eat a whole bunch of carbs, kids. You know, like the biggest section of the pyramid was full of like bread and cereal and pasta, and it was amazing. And that was, oh man, those were the days. And this was like in textbooks, like the best nutritionists and dietitians we had. We found like the smartest of the smartest that we had, and we put them on this pyramid, and they came out and they told all of us to eat a bunch of carbs. And you know, we know how that turned out. Also, I remember being worried a lot about killer bees. I felt like that occupied a lot of my thoughts as a kid in elementary school. Maybe because I grew up in Florida and I felt like they were kind of coming to me first. And it was personal, oddly. So yeah, ice age, eating a lot of carbs, killer bees. Yeah, these are things that we were quite certain of, you know, that we published. I mean, I've worked in publishing. Like, you don't publish something until you're rock solid, really certain of it, that it's gonna age well, for that matter. And we put the smartest of the smartest that we had, and we put a whole lot of like government money behind these studies so that we could teach all the kids this truth that we just knew to be true. And then it turns out that it just wasn't true. And like, moreover, this is the scary part. It was the opposite of the truth. Like, if you hired a dietitian and you're like, I need to lose weight, I need to get healthy, and he tells you like, listen, eat nothing but pasta and bread every day, like, he's fired, right? That was the opposite of the truth, but it was in textbooks. It used to be global cooling, and then it was global warming, and now it's climate change in general. And this is not about that. The point is, like, I grew up convinced the earth was gonna freeze over. I saw multiple documentaries of my own hometown being covered in water over and over again, and like, we were certain of this. The smartest of all of us, like teams of the smartest people we have, all came together and said, yes, this is true. And it turned out not only to be untrue, it turned out to be the opposite of the truth. How can you really be certain then of anything? Because I mean, like, if the smartest of the smartest of all of us can come together and make this forecast that turns out to be the polar opposite, like 180 degrees away from what actually came to pass, then like, how can we really trust anything? Are these instruments with which we judge right and wrong and truth from falsehood, are they reliable? So David Hume was the father of empiricism, and it's where we get the idea of like empirical evidence from. And it sounds pretty solid. He says the only things we know for sure are things we can see with our eyes, things we can hear with our ears. I mean, you could smell it with your nose and taste it with your tongue and feel it with your hand, then you know that it's real. And he gave no regard for anything else. That's empiricism. But then you can have a dream and you can see things that aren't there, and you can hear things that aren't there. How do you know for sure you can really trust your senses? How do you really know anything? By what measure, by what standard Do you know, like, this is real and this is not real? This is true and this is false. We've seen this happen. We've created the algorithms in our own social media feeds that feed into more and more of what we want to hear and what we want to see. And so we've surrounded ourselves with bias. So it's hard to get like a truly objective view of what is right and what is wrong, what is true and what is false. We've got some big questions to answer here, and we need really dependable instruments, to measure what's true and what's false. And it's a little uncertain because, like, the best and brightest of all of us have gotten it horrifically wrong many times in recent history. So by what standard do we know this is true and this is false?